Good morning, virtual villagers. I'm Kate from What Kate Made, and welcome to this session today. Today we're going to make some charming little bird hangers, just for decoration, no practical purpose except to make you feel good. Very simply made from cardboard, ribbon, cord, um, yarn, which is the basic. So let me show you what the one I made earlier. So this is my bird I made yesterday. I'll bring it a little bit closer so you can see. So we've got our basic card template, and I chose this lovely dark blue. I've also got this beautiful silver. Well, what I started with was the dark blue, and I thought, what goes with dark blue? Silver. So then I found my this silver crochet thread that I've used at Christmas, and then I thought, silver. Have I got silver? So what I've utilised here is, because you know how I like to do my recycling. I have a bag full of bottle bags and gift bags. We don't reuse the bottle bags very often. People give us bottles, but we don't give them back. So these are ideal. So that's what I used for the silver wing and the silver beak. I've also got some cord. You can put beads on your cord, but because is quite chunky, I've just tied knots in it. And really, that's it. It's just very simple materials. As regards equipment, you need a good pair of scissors, two good pairs of scissors actually. I always like to have a small pair for the cutting out the little tiny intricate bits, and a bigger pair for just the general outside cuttings. You need pencil. You need some form of glue. Now on this one I've used double-sided tape, and I've also used a little glue stick because they were the easiest to use. I found hot glue, which I usually say use hot glue because it's quick. It doesn't stick as well, and when you're winding and pressing little bits of yarn on, you can burn your fingers quite easily. The other thing I've got here is a hole punch. That's just a single hole punch, so you can just punch holes where you need them. It's always proved very handy, that. I've got an assortment of ribbons, in different colours. These are all, I don't know what that width is. It's probably about 2 centimeters. In fact, it probably says on the packet. But yeah, so, and that's just acrylic ribbon, so that can just be used for anything. I also got a selection of cards, and then the yarns and the paper I'm going to use today. Just a quick, I'll just have a quick tip for you. When I'm doing these things, I always, when I do my practice, new ideas pop up all the time. So when I saw the finished product, I thought, oh, it'd be nice if you had 2 or 3 different sizes. So what I've done, let me turn them around so you can see the printed side. This morning, while I've been sitting waiting, is copied the bird template again, but reduced it. So I've now got, I'll get the big one out as well. I've now got 3 sizes of bird. So what you can do is have a hanging set, hanging on one long ribbon. The other thing I've changed between doing this one and what I'm going to do today is, on this one I just used a single card cutout, but I found that there's things that I wanted to hide, like the back of the card, and what I'm going to do this time is do 2 and put them back to back. So you will cut 2 of the big templates, but only 1 of everything else. And we'll put in the cards and the bits we want to hide before we wrap the yarn around, but it'll all become clear. So because I've done my big one, I'm going to do the in-between size to show you today. So I'm just going to get that template out. So where's the wing? So from your template, you cut out the main body of the bird, you cut out the wing, and you cut out, let me get it, the beak, which is tiny, little tiny triangle. Dead easy to lose, so just be careful with that. Let me just pop them to one side because we don't need those anymore. The colour I'm going to use today, you got a clue from the purple bag. I'm going to use this nice lilac card. This is quite stiff card, the sort you would maybe use to make a birthday card, but not as stiff as a cardboard. So it needs to be quite flexible but firm. I'm also going to use, I'm going to use again the silver because I thought that would tie all the bits together. And I've got 3 lots of yarn. I've got a lot of scraps of yarn, so there's 3 purples there, which I'm going to use. The other thing that occurred to me yesterday, and if we have time, we'll do the small bird as well, is that instead of using yarn, you could use your ribbons, and that would be a lot quicker. But again, you'd need to sandwich two templates together because you'd want to hide the ends of the ribbons. Right, so let me see if I can get your comments up. This is always difficult for me. You'd think I'd know by now. Just bear with me a second. There we go. So I've now got your comments up. So let me know if you're there. Hi, Irene. Irene's always there. And that's really nice because I like to know that somebody's there. So this is my template. I've cut it out around the edges, you can already see. What I'm going to do now is cut these notches in, which I forgot to do before we came on air. I'm going to turn the camera down in a minute as well. I've just realised I haven't got the camera down. Let me just show you when I've done this. The other thing about putting two cardboard templates back to back is that it will be more stiff, so that's always a good thing. Now just bear with me while I turn my camera down so you can all see what I'm doing. Right, so there's my bird template, and I want to cut 2 of these out, but I want them to sandwich together, so they're gonna have to go in different directions. This is where I always fall down. Let me get my pencil. And we're going to put it right to the edge because I always find the cutting easier if you do it right to the edge. So I'm just going to draw in these sections first. This is when I realise that there's a lump of glue on my board underneath my template. Can you all see me? Yes. You want nice crisp edges when you're drawing around your template, but so that's one that way, and then I'm going to turn it. I'm going to do that because it is going to sit back to back, and then pray that it's right. This is where I always get very confused. So we'll draw around it again. Okay, so that's our template. That's what all we're going to cut out the purple. And it's a very simple design to cut out. I'm getting quite expert at cutting out on camera now. I used to be rubbish at it. So just before I came on air, I was chatting and we were talking about the weather, and up here in the northwest the weather has been pretty rubbish. We had 3 days of where it absolutely cracked the flags. It was that hot, and then since then it's been more or less back to autumn. So I don't know where you are and what sort of weather you're having. Today it's raining, which isn't anything unusual. And I was chatting with my window cleaner this morning. I lead such an exciting life, and we were talking about the fact that my garden is about 6 months behind, it seems. Nothing's grown. I won't get any tomatoes until, I don't know, October at this rate, because they're so far behind, because it's been cold. So yeah, generally speaking, summer is gone, I think. Still, these little birds will brighten the house up a little bit. What do you tend to do with your crafts when you've made them? Do you keep them for yourself, or do you give them away to people? I must admit, I have to give quite a lot away because otherwise I have so much. This weekend I've had some ladies coming. I do workshops here, and they've come and done soap making, simple melt and pour soaps, and had a lovely time, and I had a lovely time as well because I get to do it, and then all my relatives get the benefit of everything I've made. Right, so there's my 2 templates, and this is the moment of truth. Do they go back to back? They do, and I've actually managed to do them so that you can't see the pencil marks. What I might just need to do is trim up a few edges where, because you're cutting freehand, the diagonal will always look slightly different, and particularly where the slots are cut in, but I'll just trim that without cutting my fingers off. I think apart from that, it's pretty good. A little bit there as well. Right, so that's our basic bird. Get rid of those bits. So the first thing we're going to do is put holes in it for where the legs are going to go. Now what you might need to do is just fasten them together with a paper clip, or I've got these little quilting clips that I use just to stop it moving around while you're doing holes and things, so that you want to get it all in the same place. Okay, so now with our little single hole punch, I'm going to just mark where I want the legs to go. So we want them up a little bit from the bottom, so about there. Maybe a bit further across. That's just to give me a rough guide. And then I'm going to use the punch upside down if I've made a mark, so I can see when I put the card on, it's on the card where the mark is. Now I'm going to make it slightly higher there, and then I just punch. And then the next one's going there where my mark is, and again punch. Right, so the legs, now I can thread the legs through one half and hide it inside. So I'm going to use, I think, this grey cord for my legs because it's silvery and it goes well with the silver yarn. I'm going to tie the knot in one end. This is for the feet, and just fray up that so it looks nice and fluffy. And then I'm going to feed the other end through one of my templates from front to back. So I haven't cut this to size yet because I want to decide when it's on how long I want it to be. So I reckon, because this is a smaller bird, the legs don't want to be as long, that is about 4 inches. So I'm going to go with 4 inches. So let me just trying to get them the same size. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then about there. So I'm going to cut that one. I'll give it a slightly longer because I'll need a bit of the cord will be taken up with the knot. Then I'm going to tie my knot. Get the knot quite near the end, and again I'll fluff up that end and then even them up. Okay. Now the other thing you might want to hide inside is where you're going to hang it from the top. So on mine, I haven't, on this one, I haven't put a hanger on it because I was thinking I would suspend all 3 on a piece of ribbon. But if you wanted to put a hanger, the best place to do it is between where the wings are going to go. which is here. So I'm going to punch another hole there. So it's in between the other two holes, right in the middle. There we go. And just trying to think, I might use some of this silver that we're going to use for wrapping as the hanger. So what I'll just do is cut a piece off and fold it in half and do one of those where you put the loop through, and I don't know what these sorts of knots are called, but at least then we've got the hanging thread there. If we change our minds, we can just snip it off. So what we've got now are our two bird templates, and we're now going to place one on top of the other, so we hide all the edges. Let's just make sure our legs line up and all our other bits line up. Okay, so that lines up. Now you've got your threads. I'm going to use double-sided tape to just fasten these together. I'm going to use the wider one I've got here because I want quite a it's not going to be a delicate now I always use a separate pair of scissors for cutting things with glue. These have got a green handle on them, so I know which they are. So I'm going to put a piece there. I'm going to put a similar piece on this side, and I'm going to put a piece in between because that's the place where it'll bulge a little bit because of the cords going through. And then you just peel it. This is so much easier now I've got nails again. It's taken me ages to grow my nails back. Christine's asking about the template. The template should have been on the post for this demo. If you have a look back after we've finished. Just realised I think I've stuck my tape on the wrong side, but that's not a problem because we will just adjust it. No, I haven't. What am I talking about? Because it's, yes, I have, but it'll be fine. I'll just have to work it a bit differently. So we line up our template. That's it, and stick. So now we're that far. Now comes the boring, laborious bit. This is where we start to wrap our yarn round. So I'm going to start at the tail end, and I'm going to do alternates. I'm going to do a band of silver and then a band of the lilac. So I'll start with the silver. Now on the tail where the indents are cut, you can sort of weave it in. I'm going to just, let me just, it's getting a bit tricky now because I need another pair of hands. Because these aren't stuck down, you can put your first piece of yarn in between, and then afterwards we can, and then we're hiding the end. Can you see that? So you put your yarn in between and then you weave it like this, up, under and over, and then back round, under and over. Once you get going, you get a bit of a rhythm going, and you can just do it like this roughly, and then you can push it down and make it neater. I'll show you in a minute what I mean. So that's just kind of roughly, and then when we push them down, they become a nice even band. There we go. So we just carry on until we've got a band as thick as we want it to be. This also kind of stiffens up the tail, makes it a bit more robust. It's got a slight curve to it now, but that's quite attractive, I think. So I'm just going to do a couple more. I think that'll do for the silver. Just put that into a nice band. And then I'm going to cut this and take it back inside. And I'm also going to get a little piece of our narrowest tape, which is this one. If I can, just a tiny piece. I just want to secure that end. This might be a bit tricky to separate, but I'm going to put that in between. This doesn't want to come off now. And then pull that round. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes. I'm going to pull that round in between, pressing it down, and then that's secured that there. If there's any little ends, we can hide them. Now, I think I'll start with the darker purple on the rest of the tail, because that's a nice contrast to the card. And again, I'm going to put it between the first two pieces of tail, because as I weave it across, that will get tightened together. As you can see, as you wrap around it, that'll tighten it and hold it in. So this is quite good practice for your weaving. It's a very simple method of weaving. So if you, these will be good to make with children. If you've got children or grandchildren, I'm sure they'd love this. Maybe not the very young ones, although with the ribbons, I mean, once you've got the templates cut out, it doesn't have to be wrapped in yarn. You can use recycled wrapping paper. You can use coloured pens. You can use anything, paint. You can just decorate your birds any way you want. I just quite like to reuse bits of yarn, and I have plenty. As you can see, you could probably see from the background shot before, my yarn wall. Now I'm going to bring this to the end here, and I'm going to thread it between there. So I'm just going to separate those out. Again, I'm going to put a tiny bit of tape in. You could use dots of glue. You could use, if you're using hot glue, you could just put a little tiny spot of hot glue. If you've got, the only thing that wouldn't work very well is PVA. I always find PVA doesn't set quickly enough when I'm doing these demos. If you're at home and you've got time, so that's going to hold my yarn ends in place. I'll trim that off close. So there. Now that is the most complicated your yarn wrapping gets. The rest of it is simply winding it round. The only complicated bit is avoiding the legs and the tie. So let's get winding. This might prove to be a bit boring. I may not go all the way to the finish, just because you might get fed up of watching me. But we will start with a band round the neck. And this time I'm going to put tape directly on the outside, because that helps the yarn stick as you wind it round. And I'm using like the in-betweeny size. And I'm going to put that where I want my yarn to be wrapped. So I wanted to start in a band across the neck there. Now I'm going to just pop the tail out of the way, because sometimes you can get too many bits in the way, and you just wind it round, and every time it goes over, it sticks to that piece of double-sided tape like that. Now you need to be quite careful with your initial winding on this one, because it will stick to the tape and you don't have a chance to move it. The other thing you'll need to be careful of is checking the back, the other side. It's not necessarily the back, just to make sure. As you can see, I've got a little bit of I just want to make sure that it looks good on both sides. So I'm going to wind like a collar, so it's about a centimetre of the silver. I decided with these, when I'm wrapping with yarn, if I'm using like the metallics, I'm not going to overuse them. You could look a bit gaudy then. So that's where I've reached back to my start of where my tape is. So it's going to get in the way. So you can see that I've hidden the ends. So next I'll go with this one. I don't have as much of this yarn as the others, so I might just do a little bit of this one. So again, I'm going to start by sticking it to the tape and then start my wrapping. Now with the thicker yarn, obviously you get more coverage. The tricky bit is coming up now when you get to the curve, because the outer curve is obviously a bigger area to cover than the inner curve. So this is where you might need to start just, can you see I'm going over the previous one and doing like a little bit of a crossover, because you need to get it so it covers less area on the inside, if that makes sense, and more on the outside. So you need to angle it slightly. And this will become more pronounced as we get into that curve. So I'm trying to get myself a nice even wrap. I think that will do me. I'll bring it back to the tape in the center and cut it off. Right. So, and then start the next colour. So you're getting the idea that you work your way all the way around the bird's body. So this bit's getting, I'm just going to put that between those tail bits because it's getting in the way and annoying me. And then we do the next round. I'm just going to go slightly over the last piece of the lighter colour, because it's created a bit of a it's only halfway across because of the I might find it easier using my other hand, but working over the tail. So I am trying to sort of get a sort of fan shape because of the curve. It is a little awkward, but once you get in the swing of it, it actually speeds up. And then occasionally I'm just going to keep pressing it onto the tape. Sometimes when you're trying to work round this curve, it doesn't always press to the tape. Anyway, you get the idea. So I'm nearly at the end of that bit of tape. There's only a little bit left there. So I'm just going to fasten this off by sticking it there to the tape, and then this lighter colour, which I've got quite a lot of, I'm going to wrap that whole section, and then I'll stop then, and I'll show you how to finish the rest of it. So I need some more tape. blue scissors, which I'm going to put in this section here. And then we'll wind this on. This wall's a bit curly. It's because I've reused it from another project. I had a blanket that I was never ever going to finish, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to pull that back and reuse the yarn for something else. Which I have done. So when we're working our way around, put my yarns in a knot. We're going to just cover these. Keep pressing as we did before. And trying to get as much coverage as we can over this curve. So now we've reached the edge of one of our legs there, and we're going to go between them now, like that. That will help keep them from clumping together as well. So, and then pull the other leg round and we'll wrap the other side of that now. And that way we've fixed them in place so they hang a little bit better, and we've got our hanger here. So that will kind of like got that sorted. So that's, I'm going to stop winding there because you know you've got the idea of how you, and I would carry on to just below the tail there, or right up to the tail. It's really up to you. I'm going to cut that. Move the yarn up to one side. Okay, so what we still need to do is our beak, our eye, and our wings. So this is my wing template, and this is my beak template. And what I'm gonna do these out of so I'm gonna get rid of little bits of tape so I don't get confused. Out of my very nice metallic bag. So first thing I'm going to do is open the ribbon, get rid of the ribbon. So that's ribbon I can then use on my small bird, which I'm going to wrap with ribbon. Nothing's wasted. Okay. And the top of the, oh, that's interesting. It's patterned. And then it's plain. So we can have two different. We can have a patterned one for the wings and a plain one for the beak. So I'm just cutting right down the seam. See, these bags can't be recycled either because they're foil coated. So using them for something like this is a really good way of just not throwing them in landfill. Cardboard in the bottom. Could have just unfolded it like that. I see. Right. So just to make it a little bit more manageable, I'm going to cut a section off of the purple patterned and the plain. I'm cutting it. I'm not using the very top bit where the ribbon's fed through because that's doubled over and glued again. So pop that to one side. Now, again, with the wings, they need to go in opposite directions, if that makes sense. We want one, so we'll just draw around our template. One going that way, and then turn it over and go the other way. so that when we put them on the bird, the two white sides go together and the two shiny sides go together and they fit. That's the theory anyway. So I'll put around my drawing. So wing number 1. Wing number 2. Okay, that's our wings. And out the plane, you can see the difference. I'll bring them up closer. So this one has a swirly pattern on it and this one doesn't. I'm going to cut 2 beaks. And again, they need to go opposite each other. In fact, probably the easiest way to do it is to fold this in half and draw my beak. So the beak's got a slight curve on it. It's not just a triangle. There's my beak pieces. Whoops. Still joined a little bit. Okay, right, back to the bird. I'm going to use the glue stick now just because cutting tape that small is quite difficult. I'm going to put glue stick on one side and then stick the beak on. So you line the beak up with the curve of the body there, the head I should say, and then the other beak goes on the other side. They are a little bit bigger than the bird, these beaks, but I might have picked out the wrong template. But it doesn't matter because we can trim them. Got glue on my fingers now. So we're lining them up. And that's our beak. As I say, it's slightly proud there, so I will just trim that. It'll take a little while to dry, will that glue. So there we go. Got a nice shiny beak. Now, if you imagine that we've done all of this up to here, we want to take our string up and our legs down because the wings sit slightly proud of this curve like that. So if I hold that up, you can see that's, and that is the place where we stick them together. So I'm going to use, actually might use tape because that will stick better to the yarn, but I'm only going to use a little bit of tape and then the rest glue. Put the tape near the bottom of the wing. So you know the bottom of the wing, the point will curve upwards. So the bottom, you know which is the bottom. And I'm going to do the same on the other one. Tape. At the bottom of the curve of the wing, because those are the bits that are going to stick to the wall. So not the glue stick doesn't always work. And then the tops of the wings where the paper's going to meet together, I'm going to put some glue stick. It's all sticking to my fingers now. Right, so that's our wing for this side. We're going to make what I want to do is pull that so it stays upright while I stick the wing on. So the wing's going on like that, and it's sticking to, the glue is sticking to the card, and the tape is sticking to the yarn. So then we sandwich our hanger in between. Where's my other wing on? Stuck to my jersey. And then we put that wing on, and we line up that bit that we've glued, and then stick the rest down. Now you will have yarn up here when you've done, so that's the wings going on. So the final detail is the eye. Now I think on the list of instructions you had these googly eyes. They're nice, but they are a little bit childish. So because I wanted a little bit more of a sophisticated look, on this one I drew my eye on with a silver marker pen. So I think I might go for a purpley one. If I've got, I'm just looking at my pot of marker pens. I thought I had a purple metallic. I have that one, but it might be not dark enough. Let me just get a bit of that lilac card out of the bin. Oh no, that's fine. So we'll see how this looks anyway. So the eyes are very simply a circle with a dot in the middle. So they're quite simple. Can you see that? And obviously you do one on each side of the head. And the top of your eye should line up with the bottom of the beak. So there. And then same on the other side. Oh, that's not quite sticking that glue. I just put one of these clips on it so it sticks. There we go. So again, we line up the top of the eye with the bottom of the beak. Draw our outside circle and a dot in the middle. And that's that one done. I can't hold it upright because you won't be able to see in my camera. So quite pleased with that. And we're just going to quickly show you how to do one with ribbons. I'm just trying to think if I've got some other card here. I've got some more of this lilac card. I'll do the small bird template so it'll be quicker. So that's the little template, and there's the little wing on. So once again, I'm going to very quickly draw around my template. I'm trying to think, I need to do it one way and then the other, don't I? More important with the ribbons to actually hide the join, because you could wind over the join with the yarn, but you can't with the ribbons really. And also I'm going to leave the tail just blank because it's not as easy to do the weaving with the wider ribbon that I'm using. If I'd got narrower ribbons I could do it, but I'm just gonna put a pencil line, and I'll cut into that later. So I don't know if anybody else is out there. I've had a hi from Christine and from Irene. But if there's anybody else out there, just give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed what you've seen. And when I get round to being able to put them all together into one big long hanger, if you pop along to my Facebook page, what Kate made on Facebook, I'll post pictures there. So let's just cut this one out before I do the. You're always learning as you go, and because my fringed tail didn't quite line up last time when I cut it before I stuck it together, I'm going to stick it together first and then cut the fringes. That'll be the last thing I do. Just say hi to Sue, who's just given me a thumbs up. Glad you're enjoying it, Sue. I do enjoy the virtual village halls. People come in and watch from all over the country, and when you're sort of like crafting, solo crafting, it's nice to hear from other people. So this time I'm going to remember to stick them together the right way, but I'm going to do the wrapping before I do the sticking. Well, no, I'm not. Now this is what comes of also working on the hoof. I think maybe my ribbon might be too wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my want to stick that on the inside with a little bit of the very narrow tape. This might not work. Now when I'm thinking about it, I don't know whether I'm gonna be able to go around both pieces without it. I'll use those little clips again. So my idea was that you wrapped around, other way, shiny side up, and then cut your ribbon, and then tuck your ribbon back in between, but the glue seems to set. Can you see? Like that. And then stick it. Oh, it seems to have worked. So you've got a nice neat ribbon loop on both sides. As I say, I think this ribbon is probably just a tad wide. Should we try a piece of pink? So once again, I'm going to have to trap it in between. And I'll do that before I wind it this time, before I stick it even. And we will have a crossover because, as I said, you've got to account for the curve. And then, oh, it's going to work, I think. And then that bit will tuck in between again. But and then we'll glue it. So you can see, although it's a tad awkward, how it would work, and the rest we would just do the same. I might have a think about that. I might think of a better way and post a little video on my page. Right, it's 11:45, so it's nearly lunchtime. Let me pop you back up again. I hope you've enjoyed this session. I've enjoyed it. And we now have our bird hanger. This is the one I made earlier. Where's the half finished one gone? I've buried it. There it is. So what I will do is, I think I will get a piece of ribbon instead of the although I could do it like that. I want to have, and then the small one on the bottom, and then they can hang on in the window or on the wall. I think I said to you earlier, this colouring reminded me of Christmas, and that would make a nice Christmas decoration. This size, the little one on your to hang on your tree. It looks like a dove, so what's more Christmassy? Right, I hope you enjoyed that. If you made along with me, post some pictures in the comments so we can see your work. And I am back in a fortnight's time, and we will be doing a little bit of a plique, easier plique. So thank you very much for watching. I'll try and reply to all your comments while I'm having my lunch, and you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.